tomatoes are the most planted crop nationwide. And it's just kind of like, you know it's spring when everybody starts calling for tomatoes. Everybody loves planting tomatoes. Right. And, not all of us have room in the garden, right? So they grow well in containers, or some of us don't have enough room to plant every variety we want to try. So true. So we're going to talk about today just growing them in general, but also growing them in containers, because all you need is a patio and some sun and you can grow tomatoes. So we're getting started. You need to get them something or invest large enough. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes people make, is trying to grow in a container that's just small.
It needs a minimum of 5 gallons of soil space to be able to grow it well. And with your larger varieties, you need to even upsize that. Right. Takes pretty good size containers. So
this is a 15, right? Which might enable us to add a companion or two.
A companion or two, and tomatoes do have some companions that work very, very well with them. Right. They contribute to each other. We have a little bit of benefit from attracting beneficial insects and repelling some of the predatory insects. Right. And so we're looking for things like the basil, the mints, calendula, marigold. All of these things will work well as a companion. Besides that, it makes the skirt of the tomato look pretty.
And it's a perfect place for mint, because it can be, in your words, a bar about.
Yes.
It can take over. So this is a perfect spot for our mint. Yes. So the next choice, I guess, would be, how do I choose a plant? Which one to grow? Always ask them, what do you like to eat the most? Do you want a salad type tomato, a cherry tomato, high production, a big slicer? You might not have as much production, but you'll have larger fruit.
And then there are a lot of tomatoes that we just fall into the general purpose category, where they're large enough to slice for a salad or a sandwich, right? But they're also small enough that they can just be quartered up and tossed into something, pretty much anything.
So then we need the aromas.
Oh, have our aroma.
Yeah.
We need that good fleshy tomato that's going to last all summer. Roma is one of our better fall tomatoes as well.
Another question we get asked so often is, what is the difference between determinate and indeterminate?
Right. A determinate tomato is going to grow to its mature height, right? And then which could be between 3 and 5 feet, depending on variety, right? And then it's going to produce all of its tomatoes in a shorter window of time, okay? Not all at once, but over a couple of weeks period of time. Indeterminate is going to continue growing. It's going to set flowers all through its growth cycle, right? If you can keep them happy throughout the summer, they'll start producing again in the fall, and you'll have a succession of clusters of tomatoes ripening all throughout the season.
Perfect. And depth. How plants the depth of our...
Yeah, that's important. So let's look at one that's really good for containers. This little Juliet's good for that.
And Juliet is a salad type. We call it a 2-bite tomato, right? Really larger than a cherry, but exceedingly productive.
Right, and does very well for us here. And I'm going to do something that people always want to know, and it's heartbreaking to do, but we need to choose one of these tomato. Okay. If they were smaller, we would be able to tease them apart. Right. But they're really not at this point, so we're going to go ahead and choose. And both of these are so healthy that it's really just a decision that we're going to take one of them out. And I know it's hard to do, but it's better for the...
Well, and I'm glad you cut that, because we can ask all the time, can I pull them apart? Why can't we do that?
You can, if they're at a size that you can do that without a lot of root disturbance.
But this one, it's a 2 hours.
Yeah, we have a good root. In fact, this is almost the perfect root system. It's not root bound.
Right.
We have all these fleshy white little feeder roots just ready to go.
Right.
And so we're better off sacrificing the one to make sure that this tomato is off to a good, healthy start. Then we do want to remove these bottom leaves, because we really want to plant the tomato to its top 2 sets of leaves.
Okay.
Honestly, we could go that one more. We can take this one off. And we don't really want the leaves to be touching the soil, because that's where some of our disease issues come. Okay. So we want to make sure we're above that, but we do want to plant them deep. Tomatoes are different than a lot of plants in that they will form roots every place that it's buried. Give us a really good, strong copy greasy.
I'm going to put a big tree up here.
And remember that one of the reasons we fertilize right away with our slow release organic is that it's not going to burn these young roots. And by the time this little plant is starting to send new roots out here, all of the microbes will have activated, it processed all of that nutrition, and be ready to go. So then we just want to dig a good hole in here, deep enough to accommodate our tomato. And I kind of err on the side of deep
rather than too shallow.
Yes.
And then, like we said, you're adding a root system. So that helps with nutrition, with water, everything. Oh, that's pretty.
But we just want to make sure that leaves are not touching the soil. And notice that we left blue here to mulch.
Yes.
Because we will. As this tomato grows and starts to set its blossoms, we can even remove some of the more mature bottom leaves. If you have a bottom leaf start to yellow, it's not a sign that there's anything wrong with your tomato. It's just that leaf is done and the tomato plant has taken all the nutrition from it.
Sure.
So you can go ahead and remove that as the vine gets tall.
And that gets good air circulation. It does, is air.
And that is key to healthy tomatoes, is good air circulation, good organic fertilizer, regular foliar feeding. And we are, EM1 is also another good thing to use for this. And you can combine that with your foliar feeding along with regular root feeding. And then we do want to support them in a container.
Correct.
Look up your tomato type and get what its average mature height is. Okay. Because some of your smaller tomatoes, especially the patio brands, a tomato cage this size is just fine for that. So you don't need to overdo it.
Right.
For your larger tomatoes, the ones that are going to get that 3, 4, 5 feet tall or more, then you want a larger tomato cage. And these will fit nicely right inside the container. Perfect.
And I love those collapsible.
Oh, they're so great because you just fold them up, set them aside,
Exactly.
give them a little cleanup, and they're good to go for the next season. Plus, this also makes a fantastic bean trellis.
It does. It's a great bean trellis. Sweet peas in the winter. Exactly, yes. So I kind of think for my companion, I want to put the mid out.
I think it's a good idea. Yeah, it's a very good companion plant. And then you don't have the worry about it taking over the garden. So you get both of them together.
Now, for all the early birds that want to get a jump start on tomatoes, because that's our dilemma here. Every year is it too late?
Right.
When are we going to get too hot? Right. We have these products here that kind of benefit you if you're out here a little bit early. We have a frost or two in late February, early March.
Tomatoes really like to grow and produce their fruit 55 and up. But they'll still grow well in temperatures lower than that as long as the night goes to frost.
Right.
So when the nights start getting under 40-ish, that's where we'll want to think about protecting. And so this water wall, as they call them, does a very good job where you drop it around the plant and fill the cells with water. Water is a fabulous insulator, right? And it also is open to the top. So on the pretty days where you have cool nights, it'll give us some protection. You can also use a frost cloth over the top. There are different weights of frost fight. Just kind of match it to what you've got going. The type of plant, how much frost there tends to be. But you don't want to leave them in the pretty days. If it's a cool night, drop it over, wait it so it gets through the nights. But pull them off through the day so they get the sunshine and the wind and everything they need.
Exactly. And so our biggest nemesis is the tomato horn.
Right.
And so we can do that with BT.
With BT. Yeah. Honestly, hand picking them is not difficult. Chickens do love them. There is a creep factor to it the first time you do it, but they're not harmful to you. They don't sting. They don't bite. If it does, just, use gloved hands and just remove them. I tell everybody that they end up being a beautiful little hummingbird moth.
Right.
So I don't have any qualms about planting a sacrificial tomato plant someplace in the garden.
Okay.
One that I know produces lots of foliage. Feed the daylights out of it so that it's mostly foliage. You don't care about the tomatoes.
Right.
And I move them. I'll let a few of them grow every year so that we have that little hummingbird moth, because that's a pollinator of our night bloomers.
Exactly.
Our evening bloomers like Nicotiana and Brugmansia and the things that we like, our evening. And also our blooming cacti, right? They bloom at night. So so it's a trade-off between, we don't want you to eat our tomatoes, but you can have this tomato.
All from the salad bar.
All for the salad bar. And it doesn't hurt. It's just another couple of dollars for a tomato plant that they can have.
Right. So any other tips you want to give?
Okay, just plant them. Yeah, just plant them, enjoy them. Try a new variety every year. Don't overlook the little tiny tomatoes because they're small, but they have so much flavor.
And they reseed.
They do reseed, and also they're tougher than you think. We were harvesting Matt's wild tomatoes in December this year.
Well, you know, I'm putting in some of the Arbor Gate pink and clip. So during the broiling season, these cranes are hungry. You need to be very vigilant. So that regular fertilization.
Again, it's that don't let them get hungry. It will affect their production. You do want to plant. One of the reasons we plant early and provide the frost is that we know in our area we're going to get too hot for tomatoes quickly, and we want to get all the production we can before that. So it really doesn't hurt, that idea of using a little less fertilizer but more often so that they have that constant availability. It doesn't hurt every 2 weeks or so. It wouldn't hurt to, but it's perfect. Well, thank you. Absolutely. Let's grow some more tomatoes.
Oh, yeah.